Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'd like to provide just some general information about my company. And this is just to help people understand kind of comprehensively what services that I offer. And so I did a blog post recently that just kind of walks through all the different types of services. And so I'm just in this video going to do the same, just go through and talk about kind of where my business has landed after 4 years in business and the types of services that I currently offer. So let's get started. So just very high level, my email, I've posted it there in case you want to contact me, and then my cell phone number. If you could please just text me in advance to calling me just so that we can schedule a call. I have my social media links. Obviously, you know I'm on YouTube since you're watching this video. And another popular social media platform that I'm using is Instagram. And then I have my Facebook business page. And I've also started a Facebook group, which currently has around 275 followers. So just starting out, but it does offer a chance for people to post questions or have a discussion about my products or other audio related topics. So yeah, this is just a picture of the latest Nighthawk. Currently building a pair of Nighthawks in walnut and in bird's eye maple. So you can expect to see more photos and details on that coming soon. So just let you know, my name's Joseph Crowe, and I started my blog 9 years prior to starting my business, and it was called Joseph Crowe's DIY Speaker Building. And so I had that blog for 9 years, and it was I kept the name Joseph Crowe for my business just so that people would make the connection that the business is based on the same blog there. So I'm 42 years old, and I started my business in 2017. I'm sole proprietor, and so I run my business from my workshop, and I have one full-time woodworker. I'm located in Ontario, Canada, and I ship globally. And so I typically use either Canada Post, or for larger shipments, I use FedEx Commercial. I design and build custom speakers for home audio, and my focus is mainly on two-channel music and specifically horn speakers. So my shop is split into these areas of operation. So I have a woodworking portion to my shop, which is comprised of manual woodworking and also two CNC machines. I have an acoustical testing area, and I also have an area that's for my 3D CAD computer workstation. So as you may know, I have a Shopify store. This is an e-commerce platform website that all transactions from my customers go through this website. And so every project's quoted up front. And when I quote a project, I create a custom product page on my website that basically details out the project scope, the details, and as far as lead time and the terms, payment terms. And so you can review the product page, and then if you decide that you want to proceed, then you can actually complete the transaction right on the product page. And there's a variety of payment methods, either PayPal or credit card and that. So once you've placed the order, you'll receive an order confirmation, which is automatically emailed to you. And this is where you get the 4-digit number from, which is your order number. This number is also the same number that's used for any potential drawings that are going to be used in the project. And another little tidbit that might be helpful is that the numbering is also in sequence. So if I introduce a base cabinet, for example, base cabinet 1829, it's developed before base cabinet number 1830. And so all of the product numbers are in sequence over time. So if you ever have a question in your mind about what is the latest design as far as like horn technology, you can sometimes just use the number. Whatever number is greater is going to be the most latest design. So most quotes that I provide are fixed in that they're not just estimates. So this gives the customer confidence and assurance to know that there's not going to be any cost overruns or surprises. So here's a brief summary of the types of projects that I'll take on, either for individuals or for other businesses. So I offer complete speaker design, either cabinets, crossovers, driver selections, horn and waveguide designs. And here's an example photo of the drawings. So I use SolidWorks, and I pull pretty heavily from my background in manufacturing to produce proper assembly and detail drawings. And so the drawings typically start out as an assembly drawing that details out the components in a bill of material. And then subsequent to that are other sheets in the drawing package, typically in as a PDF format, where subsequent sheets are detailed drawings for the individual components in the assembly. Okay, and so another service that I provide is driver testing and test reports, and that's for either vintage drivers or new drivers, and I do that either for individuals or for other businesses. And so here's an example of my typical PowerPoint format that I provide, a kind of a complete suite of test data on a particular driver. And so if you ever have any questions about a specific driver that you might have, it's maybe a vintage driver and there's not a lot of test data. For example, I have some Philips full range drivers that there's nothing available online that could tell you what these things sound like. And so that might be an example of a driver that you might want to send to me for testing to get an idea of how it performs in the context of what else is available. So I also offer prototyping for individuals or other businesses, and so I have a picture here of a 3D printed part. More and more I'm getting into 3D printing. I have a local supplier that does an excellent job using really high quality plastics to produce high detail components, and so that's helped accelerate the prototyping phase, doing multiple versions. And so here is an example of a waveguide for an AMT tweeter that I just picked up yesterday from the printer. And so it has these fins and it has a central phase plug. And so it's just something that I'm trying out and testing just more as like an in-house development to try to understand, with the planar tweeters, how the waveguide affects the overall coverage pattern, distortion, and trying to achieve a flat frequency response. So that's just an example there. And so we continue to develop those types of technologies in-house. So also I do complete custom turnkey builds, either build components or complete systems. And I have an example here of the 1680 speaker. It's actually getting reviewed soon by Thomas Stereo. And so look forward to that. I'll be publishing that once he makes that available. So custom horns and finished systems. Another important thing to consider too is actually what I don't take on, and typically the types of projects that I avoid. So I don't do refurbishing or upgrading existing speakers. I don't do projects that use old drivers in trying to put a finished speaker together based on somebody might have a bunch of horns and woofers and they want me to put something together for them. I don't take on those types of projects. If you do have something like that, I can maybe help point you in the right direction on somebody that will. More and more, I'm not designing systems based on customers' existing drivers in general. So more of what I've been doing is designing systems that meet a specific target for sound quality, and I really need to be able to pick the drivers and technology that's used to achieve that goal. And so it's such a delicate balance. It's a juggling act between various driver parameters and configurations to kind of come up with a design that is actually workable, that meets that target. And if I'm kind of tied with my hands behind my back using a driver that I'm not familiar with and I haven't tested extensively, then it's not something that I feel confident in being able to do. And I don't do crossover upgrades for existing speakers. And so that's something, again, I can point you in the direction of somebody that actually does that. So another thing that you may not be aware of is I posed the question, are you thinking of starting a speaker company? And the reason I ask that, most of my finished speaker designs are available for commercial licensing if you're thinking of starting a speaker company yourself. And so a lot of my business is based on helping support entrepreneurs and getting them off the ground and getting them established and kind of filling in the gaps for where they lack that expertise. And so I've just listed off a short list of current finished turnkey designs that are actually available currently. Now I have licensed maybe 2 or 3 designs that aren't on this list. And so the reason I've done that is because I tend not to actively solicit and promote designs that are any licensed. Now, having said that, the licensing is non-exclusive, meaning that I still retain the right to license those designs to other companies. But generally, if I establish a working relationship with an individual, I really try to support them and keep the license unique to them. But again, it's not like a written in stone thing. It's more of if they're producing decent volumes of production and the relationship's really working out, then I tend to just leave it as is. So there's the co-entrant horn technology that I developed that's available for licensing, and so it's using 2 mid-range drivers and a ribbon tweeter. And so this one is one that's available. This is the vintage speaker. So this was built for a customer, and so the technology was developed as an in-house technology available for licensing, but this was a build that went to a customer, and he reports that it's basically the best that he's heard, according to him, and he's just extremely thrilled with the overall sound quality. The horn technology that I'm developing here for the AMT, that's something that's going to be coming up where I'll be offering that as something that's available. Speaker system 1815 is a more recent project that uses a 15-inch 2A sealed configuration with the ES600 biradial. And so there's another version of that, which is the 1786, which uses a off-the-shelf horn from SB Audience. And so these are designs that are available. Speaker system 1309, which is really popular in the DIY community. This is also available for those that want to commercially reproduce this design. So like I mentioned, the licensing is non-exclusive, and what I require from the licensing is a 5% royalty payment based on your speaker sales to your customer. Okay, and so it's a small amount. Now, what you get with that is additional support. So I help by providing basically a RFQ package where it includes all of the 3D CAD files, the PDF drawings, and suggested manufacturing methods for, for example, how to set up the CNC machine in a production environment. And so it allows you basically, if you're thinking of starting a business, it allows you to send out RFQ packages to potential suppliers to solicit quotes for production runs. I don't currently offer licensing for the horns themselves. I'm only offering licenses to those that are looking to build and complete finished speaker as a finished speaker as a product. Something that's come up more and more as the years go by with my business, I get people asking me if I offer consultation services, and so it's something that I've started to do a little bit more and more of. And so I've just bullet formed kind of the types of consultation that I offer. So one of the big ones is business plan consultation, and that kind of ties in with what I was talking about earlier with the licensing. So if you're thinking of starting a business and you're maybe perhaps young and you're not sure about a lot of things, I find I do have some value added guidance that I can offer. One of them is how to create a distinctive product in the competitive market segment of home audio, your social marketing strategy and how to go about that, your overall business viability assessment. So I can look at what it's going to cost in a production. What are your input costs going to be for manufacturing a particular speaker product, and is that even viable considering what the demand would be for a product like that? Another area that I think is a big gap with most people is a manufacturing feasibility study. So I look at your particular idea or your particular product, and I look at how that product is actually going to be manufactured. And I look at whether that is actually something that's feasible, both in terms of making the part efficiently, but also looking at the quality control plan and how you're going to control that. Another thing that's interesting is I offer an online class for individuals or businesses. This is a one-on-one Google Meet type situation where we can discuss loudspeaker design, measurement. I can do a step-by-step walkthrough on how to use a particular software such as ARTA or DATS or other. I'm actually what do you call it? An experienced user of SolidWorks. I have over 10,000 hours of SolidWorks seat time, and so I can certainly help guide you through how to use SolidWorks. Or, for example, CAM programming. If you have a CNC machine and you're having difficulties programming a particular part, I can offer support on how to do that. And I use BobCam, but it's basically pretty standard across the board for other CAM programs, and so I'd be able to help with that as well. Also, I can offer general audio Q&A and discussion. If you just want to pick my brain and have a discussion about your particular project, then that's something that we can do. And that kind of rolls into the next service that I offer, which is just a system design retainer. And so this is more for the hobbyist that's looking to design their end game horn speaker system, and they're taking their time. I get a few people that they're not ready to pull the trigger yet, but for them on a personal level, it's a journey where they're trying to learn and they're trying to understand kind of the physics, the acoustics, the electrical theory that's behind a world-class horn speaker system. And so they're trying to set up, what are they going to go with in terms of drivers, horns, configuration for bass, and what needs to be done with their room for acoustical treatment. And so what I typically do in this situation is I just simply do what's called a retainer, where the customer pays for a certain number of hours of my time, and then I'm available to them either to answer emails or do a phone chat or a video call, where I either provide them relevant test data or I conduct custom testing based on the customer's request. And sometimes the customer will happen upon a particular driver, and they want me to test it out, and so they'll literally just ship me the driver, and then I'll do the testing here in my studio and produce a report for them, and then I give them some contextual information on how it performs against other designs. So the other thing that I offer that you may well know is the speaker plans and the 3D CAD files. And so here I have just kind of a collage of the different designs, but there's probably close to 100 different CAD files or speaker plans available on my site. If you don't see something that suits, then please send me an email. I might have something that's simply not published publicly. There's quite a few projects that I don't publish for various reasons, or I may be able to do a custom design rather easily for you to suit your specific need. So I also offer some guidance on how to find a local shop. So there's a link here on how to find a shop, a builder in your area. If you don't have a workshop yourself, but you want to find somebody, for example, to build a bass cabinet for you, then I give you some guidance on how to find a shop that has the appropriate skill set. With machining horns, for example, a kitchen cabinet shop or a sign shop likely won't be able to produce the horns because it requires a specific skill set. And so that blog post that I've done helps guide you through that and what questions to ask when you're approaching different shops. And so the horns that I offer that I started to offer, I've offered this from the beginning since starting my company, the either biradial or circular horns that are CNC machined from solid hardwood. And so I continue to produce those on an order by order basis. However, I have started to do limited production runs of the most popular horns, and an example of that is the ES600 bi-radial. So I've partnered with Athos Audio recently, and had them produce 4 pairs of the ES600 bi-radial in Baltic birch plywood, and so you can see the pictures here, and I've posted a link. So this allows me to offer the popular horns at a discount, and in this case it's 25% off what it would be if you ordered the horns custom. And so the shipping is free to the European customers, and it's also available for people outside of Europe, and it's a $200 US dollar shipping charge. And so another thing that's worth mentioning too is this is a popular size format. It's a reasonable size, and it's available if you're looking to build a complete speaker that's turnkey. I do offer it in the 1815 speaker, which is a 15-inch two-way speaker. Let me just open the link here so you can see it. So so the idea would be that you buy the horns, this limited production run, you buy a pair of horns at the discounted price, and then you build this cabinet, which is a sealed cabinet. It's a pretty simple construction, and when you purchase the horns from me, I'm going to include the full plan set to construct this speaker. So it's included for free of cost when you purchase the horns here. So just a little plug for that. And Athos does excellent quality, and I've been really happy with how the horns turned out. And so I've partnered with him to help build those horns. So now I get a lot of emails, requests for quotes, people asking for quotes, and so I just have some general requests. When you're sending me an email, if you could let me know in the email if this is for personal use or if you have commercial interests. And so it's fine either way. I just need to know up front if this is for your personal use or if you have commercial interests. Let me know what country you're from, and then this just simply helps me know what is possible for shipping and also for local supply. So for example, some countries they can't get certain brands of drivers, and so that's just good for me to know up front when I'm trying to think of how to respond to your email and what options are available to you. It's nice to know what country you're calling from. So if you're referencing specific products, it's really helpful to if you include the hyperlinks where applicable, and it just saves me a little bit of time doing that Google search and trying to look up a driver that you've referenced in your email. And also please avoid writing a novel. So sometimes I get that and I do read them through, but a lot of times the information is just it's a little bit excessive for what I need to know, because basically I'm trying to figure out what you want me to quote. And so just keep that in mind when you're sending the email. Just kind of keep it distinct and succinct, or distinct, either way. So normally I can provide a quote in my first response to your email, and so this might be in the form of a design quote or just some time to do a video chat with you where we can discuss your project in more detail. And so I do enjoy talking to fellow enthusiasts, and it seems to be a really effective way to understand quickly what the customer's specific needs are. And just to finalize, I just want to say thank you to all my customers. I didn't expect to do this, but anyways, thank you to all my customers for making this viable. So anyways, I'm just very thankful to be able to be doing this. It's awesome. So thank you. Again, I just offer my email there and my phone number. So that's it. Take care and have a great day.